of an inmate over the.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
A lot to get to this morning, but the big story that everybody's watching is the potential for flooding as we go through the day. Obviously, up into the 50s today. Add to that rain, especially in areas to the north that have been hit by snow. It's like a perfect storm.
Yeah, these are the days we were monitoring when we start to see this March thaw as we enter springtime. Of course, we want a gradual thaw. When we get this 50-degree day plus the rainfall, that's when we keep a close eye on the river concerns across the board. So let's take a look outside right now. First off, a live look in Cooperstown where the temperature isn't all too bad. It's actually a very mild start to your day as we take a look at the current conditions across the state. It's in the 40s for much of the area, with the exception of parts of the North Country, which are just hovering in the low 30s, and even Glens Falls sitting at 27 degrees. But it's nearing 50 already in Syracuse and in Rochester as we speak. But let's look at the radar right now. We've got mainly quiet conditions, but to our south and to our west is where that widespread rain is continuing to move in. So when it comes to flood alerts, there are flood watches that have been issued since last night for Oneida and Lewis counties. And there still could be some potential for Herkimer and Otsego and Chenango counties as well. This is just one county that's been issued with it as well, but we're pretty much all of central New York and the Mohawk Valley is going to see this widespread rain. So today it's a mild start and it's a mild afternoon. We climb into the 50s with a strong south wind and widespread rain. We have a look at how much rain we're expecting and the latest on the flooding potential coming up in that full forecast in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. We're taking a live look now at the levels on the Sequoit Creek in Whitesboro. This is right at the Main Street Bridge. Good gauge of where the water levels are in the region. Right now you can see pretty low, but when it starts getting up to that white measurement board there, that's where we start to get a little bit worried. So obviously Eric is going to be keeping an eye on that this morning. Bill, when he comes in this afternoon. And News Channel 2's Kirk Tupine tells us what local municipalities have been doing to prepare for the potential flooding.
There are several areas around central New York that are prone to flooding. The village of Whitesboro has been affected by early winter thaws in the past, especially at the CSX bridge off Main Street. Whitesboro Mayor Glenn Hopsicker has been keeping a close eye on the Sequoit Creek and is taking early precautions.
We've been watching to make sure there's no ice jams, which there are not. We drove down there the last few days to make sure there's no logs underneath the CSX bridge, which CSX also has got a long stick on standby in case something did happen for us there, and we also have DOT on standby.
The mayor isn't just focusing on the Sequoit Creek and has crews taking action to make sure the village is ready for a quick thaw.
Our DPW has already started clearing out the storm drains. The fire department obviously is always ready in the PD, but we're lucky that we had a little bit of a warm spell last week and the cold nights have been helping us, and I think it's going to be we're going to be in good shape in Whitesboro.
Utica's DPW has been working to clear areas that are prone to flooding, and the commissioner says there are things the public can do to help prevent flooding.
If they're available to get in front of their house with a catch basin, shovel it off so the water can flow into it, would be great.
DPW workers will continue opening up as many catch basins as possible and clearing snow from areas of concern. But with rain and warm weather on the way, there's likely going to be some areas that can't handle the amount of water expected.
I'm sure there will be some areas that are flooding. Our guys will be out there of all parts of the city tomorrow, checking on the flooding and cleaning off catch basins in all the areas where the flooding happens.
If you do see areas starting to flood within the city of Utica, you're asked to call the DPW at 315-738-1341, and they'll respond as fast as they can. In Utica, I'm Kirk Tupine reporting for News Channel 2.
There's a boil water advisory.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back, everyone. The time now is 5:12 and heading out the door early today. Well, things are looking really quiet, but in fact, really warm. Things are going to change quickly, though, throughout the morning as widespread rain moves in. But a look at some area roadways. They are dry, they are clear. The snow melt continues, and that'll be aided again today by these warmer temperatures approaching near 50 degrees, along with that widespread rain. So here's a look at the radar right now. Things are quiet as we speak, but to our south and west is where that initial line of rain is just starting to move in. So potentially those of you in Oneonta, Norwich, Sherburne, parts of Shenango and Otsego County are likely to see this rainfall move in first, and then we'll gradually see it work its way into the Mohawk Valley and eventually North Country later on this morning. So when it comes to travel impacts today, it's going to be a rainy one, so widespread rain this morning, and watch out for ponding on roadways this afternoon and this evening for your evening commute. And coming up in a few minutes, we're going to explain what you can do to prevent any issues with this type of preventable situations you can do when it comes to ponding on roadways. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. 6 weeks into his second term, President
Packer 2 weather updates all day on KTV+.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, on this Wednesday. Happy hump day and happy warm day, because this will be the warmest temperature we've seen in quite some time here in Central New York this afternoon. Let's take a look at downtown Utica right now. It's a quiet start to the day. A lot of that snow has melted in the city. In fact, you can see almost a complete area of exposed grass near the Nexus Center out here on the other side of the screen. The current temperature early today sits at a balmy 42 degrees, which is much warmer to start it today than usually we see for the highs this time of year. It does feel like 37 with that east wind of 8 miles per hour. And again, that wind will begin to strengthen more from the south as we begin to see this system move in. In fact, the radar is picking up this band of rainfall moving into parts of the southern valleys as we speak. Oneonta, Norwich, the first locations in the south to get hit by this rain. Zooming out, this is a very large system here. Very strong system with lots of rain surging in from the south. We've got a fresh supply, a conveyor belt of moisture and rain coming in from the southeast, hitting us in central New York directly. A lot of warm air here as well, and although it's not marking it here on our system for some reason, lots of blizzard warnings in parts of Upper Peninsula, Michigan, heading down into Minnesota. Some heavy snow and strong winds aided with this system as well. Now, we're not going to see blizzard warnings, at least for now, expected with the system, but still, this is a pretty strong setup. A few slight changes to those projected rainfall numbers here, between 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches expected. Some of those locations, primarily out to the west, could see a little bit higher rainfall totals. And with our secondary model here, as you can see, some locations, primarily up north, will see more rain than areas to the south due to upsloping, but this is just two separate model instances of how much rain we can expect. And as we take a look at river monitors across the board, still no major concerns, but we're going to have to keep a close eye on these as these river forecasts do change depending on the flow of the river, how much drainage moves in. There's a lot of variables that go into flooding when it comes to these creeks, streams, and rivers. But again, a few areas of yellow to monitor, but a lot of green as of now. But here's a tip to help you guys in case you're wondering about what you can do, something that's very minor that you can do to help. If you have a storm drain near your house, you have an extra minute or so, just clear it out. A lot of crews, as Kirk Chupai mentioned, are doing it yesterday, even parts today, but still, it helps out tremendously if you just clear out some of these drains, and that'll help with potential for ponding on roadways. And so widespread rain today. We might see a lull in the rainfall activity by the late evening, followed by a brief round of rain tonight. And then by tomorrow, a few areas of drizzle and flurries, turning mainly over to snow showers, lake effect snow, by tomorrow night and into Thursday evening as well. And so your 7-day forecast following this alert day today. Rain switches over to snow on Thursday, windy conditions on Friday, and then those temperatures remain down into the 30s by Saturday and Sunday. So we're cooling back down again just in time for this weekend.
Yeah, beautiful roller coaster. We get one touch of spring and then back to
called
winter.
full spring for a reason.
Yeah, Sprinter, I called it the other
Sprinter,
day.
yeah.
Sprinter. Thank you very much, Eric. The time now, 5:21. Still ahead on Sunday.
News with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
We got a little bit of weather coming in.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, and it's mainly rain. For the first time in a while, it's just rain.
Yeah.
But yes, we're looking at that arriving this morning. In fact, a live look at Oneonta where that rainfall is likely arriving momentarily, if not already falling. A bit difficult to see, especially when it's at night. But I think with some of the hazy conditions out in the distance, it appears as if it's raining as we speak. Now, current conditions show rain falling in Binghamton right now. And on the fringe of it, Hamilton, cloudy skies, not quite rain just yet. 40s, the main temperature across much of the area, although it's a little cooler as you head up into the North Country at 32 degrees, but it's approaching near 50 out in Syracuse. Now, the radar right now is picking up on that arriving rainfall. In fact, I think with the radar scans, the latest scans, it probably has just passed with the rain in Norwich, and it is raining, appears to be in Oneonta right now. There are flood watches in effect for the areas in green here, including Oneida and Lewis County. There could be more concerns in areas in Herkimer and Otsego County as well, but this is just the areas where the flood watch was officially issued. So today we're going to keep a very close eye on creeks, streams, and rivers. We do think the highest concern would just be some flood-prone areas in poor drainage areas, but beside that, temperatures climb into the 50s. It's going to be a warm one today and a rainy one. We are tracking that snowmelt, that rainfall, what you can do to potentially assist in preventing ponding on roadways coming up in that full forecast. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. It was the longest presidential speech to a joint session of Congress.
Tracker 2 weather updates all day on KTV+.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Unfortunately, no photo of the day today. We're having some technical issues with our website right now, but I want to share with you guys some notable coming dates here in central New York as we head into eventually spring, which is 14 days away. But the more sooner date, or for lack of a better word, a quicker date here, will be the 7 p.m. sunset, which begins 3 days from now. And that'll take place, of course, on Sunday after daylight saving time kicks in. 32 days away is our average high of 50 degrees or above. That, of course, is variable depending on what Mother Nature decides, but on average, our 50 degree and above days usually begin about 32 days from now. The radar, as of this point, still looking mainly quiet in the Mohawk Valley. Rainfall beginning to move in from the south as we speak. So we're going to keep a very close eye on the radar today with the rainfall totals, estimates, rainfall rates, and everything we need to know when it comes to that because, of course, with the rainfall and the snow melt, that's the biggest concern when it comes to area waterways. Ben?
All right, Eric. Thank you very much. And as Eric mentioned, we're keeping an eye also on local waterways. There it is. Eric, what do we normally look for when we talk about the Secoit Creek? Specifically in this spot right on Main Street, when we start to get concerned? At what point do we start to get concerned?
The concern, obviously, you see the board out in the distance. That's the measuring board. We can see the feet near the foot of the bridge. And the situations where there have been serious concerns with flooding, the water has been near the base of the bridge or even higher. As of now, our biggest concern with this was the potential for ice jams. Now, the good news is the ice has melted, so ice jamming concerns with Secoit Creek is non-existent. There are some other waterways we're keeping a close eye on. that are still potentially ice covered in the Adirondacks. But ice jamming risk is lower. But for right now, I think the main concern is just the snow melt aided with this rainfall. And I think that the risk is low, but still we have to remain vigilant when it comes to flooding, especially this time of year.
And I remember last August when one of the remains of the tropical storms, I can't remember which one, came through. I was down here actually right in this exact spot, watching as the water came up to about the 6-foot mark. And we started getting concerned a little bit, Kirk Tupai and I, that it was going to hit the bridge. It was just under the bridge. It cleared it by a few inches and started going down, but definitely something that you're going to be watching throughout the day. Bill's going to be watching later on tonight. The time now, 5:46. Let's take a live look at downtown Utica. Eric will be in next with his full Storm Tracker 2 forecast. That, along with more news, is coming your way on News Channel 2 at sunrise.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
The time now, 5:49, and time to welcome the newest member of our Morning Mug Club, brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. Clinton High School presents The Drowsy Chaperone, a musical within a comedy. March 6th, 7th, and 8th at 7 p.m. at the Clinton Central Schools Performing Arts Center. A comedy parody of 1920s musicals. The Drowsy Chaperone follows the wedding of a starlet and a wealthy widower. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased through the Clinton Central School box office. And if you'd like to become a member of our Morning Mug Club, our contact information is right there on your screen. The Morning Mug Club, proudly brought to you each morning by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli in Yorkville.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. It's a quiet and dry start to the day today. In fact, it's mild as well. This morning, we're taking a look at downtown Utica, where roadways are dry and clear, and the rain hasn't fallen just yet in the city, but it's starting to fall in areas to the south. Mostly clear, temperature of 42 is again, very warm start to the day today. And we'll continue to see these temperatures rise up into the upper 40s to low 50s by this afternoon. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. We're tracking the arrival of a round of rainfall passing just south of Route 20 in Madison, Shenango, and Otsego counties as we speak. There could be some pockets of patchy freezing drizzle early in the morning, but I don't think the rainfall will be that intense initially to produce anything impactful in parts of, say, Hamilton County with some of those cold pockets. But zooming out here, I want to show you the extent of this low pressure and the strength of it. This is encompassing a lot of the Northeast and parts of the Midwest. All these little squares of orange here are blizzard warnings. This encompasses almost the entire state of Iowa, southern parts of Minnesota, parts of Missouri, and even the Upper Peninsula of Michigan right now. Now, we aren't expecting blizzards from this, but it goes to show you how strong this low pressure is. This is surging in all this moisture from the Gulf and the Southeast into our area, which of course could produce some flooding concerns. Now, when it comes to rainfall totals, this is not, as of now, expected to be a blockbuster event with rainfall. The issue is the rainfall with the snowmelt, and that's something we're going to keep a very close eye on throughout the day today. No major adjustments to that rainfall forecast, still thinking between half an inch, 3/4 of an inch to potentially 1.5 inches in some spots. And of course, we're keeping a very close eye on area river monitors as we speak. For now, there's no major concern with any water levels, but this could change depending on the rainfall rates, if any ice from any waterways feeding into these rivers move in. And that's the close look we're taking right now. Something you can do to prevent snowmelt, flooding, pretty simple. Out in front of your house, you have a storm drain that is covered with ice or snow. If you have extra minutes, again, you don't have to, but just if you have the ability to and you clear it out, it'll help tremendously with removing a lot of that water from roadways, which could cause a concern for ponding as well as flooding. And so in our Skycast today, here we are, that widespread rain moving through. Highest rainfall totals expected up north due to upsloping. Then we could see a brief dry slot move in, a secondary round of rain overnight. Then things quiet down temporarily before things will switch to a more cold setup with lake effect snow moving its way in Thursday evening and into Friday. So with snowfall accumulation following this, again, we're not done with winter. We are still in winter time. We're not done with winter just yet. Tug Hill could see the most accumulation. A few spots could see 2 to 4 inches of snow as we head to Friday night and into Saturday. And so your 7-day forecast following Friday's lake effect snow, things remain cool, in fact cold for Saturday and Sunday. And of course those clocks move forward an hour on Sunday. We'll be right back.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
It's a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. Some flood potential out there. We want to get right into it. This rain just starting in the southern part of our viewing area. How long is this going to last? How much are we supposed to get? Is that a big concern, the flood potential?
Yeah, well, at least for this system moving in, what we've mentioned over the past several weeks is that when it comes to the amount of snow we've seen that hasn't melted yet in areas to the north, it's been if we get a gradual thaw and not any major rainfall. Well, we're getting the major rainfall, we're getting a major thaw today. So we got to keep a close eye on those waterways as well. In fact, take a look at the conditions out there right now. In Oneonta, the rain just passed over the city about a half hour or so ago. And in fact, we can see that rainfall reported in Hamilton and Syracuse for now. Temperatures in the low 40s in parts of Rome and Syracuse. In fact, upper 40s out in Syracuse with a temperature of 32 up in the North Country. So there's a bit of a difference in conditions depending on elevation and location. The radar right now starting to pick up that rain again, moving through the Route 20 corridor, eventually into the Mohawk Valley within the next, say, 20 to 30 minutes. And on top of that, there's much more rain on the way to the south and east. So when it comes to flooding concerns, there are flood alerts or flood watches in effect for Oneida and Lewis counties. There are still even more potential for that in Herkimer and Otsego County, but of course those aren't officially included in the flood watch right now, but we do think that there's some potential for those counties as well. The next 12 hours call for widespread rain, temperatures climbing as high as the low 50s. Now, some locations this evening and even early tonight might see a lull in the rainfall. This might not be a steady all day long rain, but especially in areas to the north, that's where the highest rainfall totals are expected. We have a look at the concerns with the flooding potential of this, as well as the latest in that snow or latest in the rainfall numbers, as well as what follows this coming up in that full forecast. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. Let's take a live look at the levels of the Secoit Creek in Whitesboro. You can see a good gauge here as to where water levels are locally. We start to get concerned when it gets up to that measuring stick there. Right now, it's pretty far away, but we're going to keep an eye on it. And as News Channel 2's Kirk Tupai tells us, we're not the only ones keeping an eye on it. Many local municipalities have been doing a lot to prepare for the potential flooding.
There are several areas around central New York that are prone to flooding. The village of Whitesboro has been affected by early winter thaws in the past, especially at the CSX bridge off Main Street. Whitesboro Mayor Glenn Hopsicker has been keeping a close eye on the Secoit Creek and is taking early precautions.
We've been watching to make sure there's no ice jams, which there are not. We drove down there the last few days to make sure there's no logs underneath the CSX bridge, which CSX also has got a long stick on standby in case something did happen for us there, and we also have DOT on standby.
The mayor isn't just focusing on the Secoit Creek and has crews taking action to make sure the village is ready for a quick thaw.
Our DPW has already started clearing out the storm drains. The fire department obviously is always ready in the PD, but we're lucky that we had a little bit of a warm spell last week, and the cold nights have been helping us, and I think it's going to be we're going to be in good shape in Whitesboro.
Utica's DPW has been working to clear areas that are prone to flooding, and the commissioner says there are things the public can do to help prevent flooding.
If they're available to get in front of their house with a catch basin, shovel it off so the water can flow into it, would be great.
DPW workers will continue opening up as many catch basins as possible and clearing snow from areas of concern. But with rain and warm weather on the way, there's likely going to be some areas that can't handle the amount of water expected.
I'm sure there will be some areas that are flooding. Our guys will be out there of all parts of the city tomorrow, checking on the flooding and cleaning off catch basins and all the areas where the flooding happens.
If you do see areas starting to flood within the city of Utica, you're asked to call the DPW at 315-738-1341, and they'll respond as fast as they can. In Utica, I'm Kirk Chupai reporting for News Channel 2.
Now to a different kind of water issue, a boil water.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise. The time now is 6:12 and heading out the door early today. Well, you'll be encountering mainly dry weather initially, followed by the arrival of widespread rain. We can actually see those area roadways in Bridgewater starting to get a little bit on the damp side from the arrival of this rain. Areas in the Mohawk Valley and in areas to the north, things are still dry as we speak. In fact, the radar is just starting to move its way in to the Mohawk Valley within the next 15 minutes or so. And following that, again, we're not looking at a sustained rainfall early today, but we'll see more of that steady rain move in by the mid-morning and on. And so, leaving work today or heading out to work today, you'll be encountering damp conditions. But by your evening commute, though, this was potential for ponding on roadways after a days long worth of rain falling across the board, and along with that too, snowmelt. We are looking at the latest rainfall forecast numbers as well as the potential impacts to area waterways coming up in just a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. 6 weeks into his second term.
Don't let the weather spoil your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity.
Over the years, cars change.
But Harding Mazzotti is always here for you.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Roadways a little wet in the city of town of Cooperstown, where you just saw some of that rainfall move through, but that rain has not reached the Mohawk Valley just yet. Here's a look at downtown Utica right now from our camera on the Nexus Center. As you can see here, roadways still looking dry, generally overcast, but some pockets, for example, in locations north and west of Rome, have seen a few areas of clearing here and there. But it's 40 and cloudy in Rome. Southeast wind at 6 miles per hour. This will slowly shift to a more south wind throughout the day. But still, it is going to be a warm one with those high temperatures climbing as high as 50 degrees. Now here's the radar right now, picking up on this round of rainfall, moving through Route 20, eventually hitting Little Falls, Mohawk, Ilion, eventually Frankfort, Utica, this I-90 line here in just a few minutes. And this will not be a long-lasting rain shower. In fact, there's a dry slot behind it, but more is on the way. Let's zoom out here and we can see this massive plume of moisture in the atmosphere. This is going to move its way into our area later on this morning. So although it might be a dry slot here and there, overall trend is widespread rain today. Massive low pressure system, also just something to note as well, blizzard warnings in parts of Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri, as well as even parts of Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. So this is producing some pretty strong winds on the backside of it. When it comes to rainfall in our area, there's still not much to change with that forecast. We still think between half an inch, 3/4 of an inch to as high as 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches of rainfall across the board. And most of that rain will fall in areas north of the Mohawk Valley due to upsloping. And of course, with the snowpack already on the ground in areas well north of Utica, again, most of the lake effect snow this season has been falling in northern Eddy County and central Herkimer County. We have to keep a very close eye on area waterways due to the sheer amount of water that's going to be falling or coming down these rivers and creeks and streams. For now, not a major concern. Still lots of greens and only a few yellows. In fact, the only orange is down here south of Syracuse, south of the Finger Lakes, that drainage basin. But again, this could change, and we'll, of course, provide updates throughout the day if that does. Something you can do that Kirk Tupai mentioned earlier in the broadcast, you can help by cleaning out some storm drains near your house, or as well as clearing out some of the drainage basins in front as well. It's something minor, but it'll help tremendously when it comes to the potential for flooding on roadways. So in our Skycast today, widespread rain rolls through the area, temperatures in the 40s and 50s, a dry slot briefly, a secondary round of rain, and then conditions begin to cool with snow showers working their way in, lake effect snow working their way in by Thursday evening into Friday. And we will expect some snowfall to accumulate with the system as we head into Friday night into Saturday. Some spots picking up 2 to 4 inches. Tug Hill seeing the most at potentially 7 inches or more. And so your 7-day forecast, 40s turn to 30s by the weekend, warming up into the mid-30s to eventually 40s by next week. And a big happy birthday to those of you celebrating on this Wednesday. 2025.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour, rather. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
A lot to get to this morning, but obviously the big story, the flooding, the potential for flooding with that rain coming in.
Yes, the rain, it's mainly not just the rainfall. For example, in a situation like this in the middle of summer, if it's been a dry May or whatever, this isn't a big concern with amount of rain, but it's that snowpack that's still in the ground in areas in the North Country, which we got to keep a very close eye on because that's still several inches of water equivalent rain that just hasn't melted yet. So in fact, let's take a look outside right now. In fact, in Cooperstown, where the rain has already passed through and it's fallen, now this has ended temporarily. A dry slot has moved in the wake of it. As you see here, temperatures are in the 40s in the Mohawk Valley. Rain reported in Hamilton and Syracuse. Upper 40s in Syracuse, by the way. A very warm start to the day out there. And it's 32 with mostly cloudy skies up in Saranac Lake. The radar right now, again, picking up on that rain, just moving into the Mohawk Valley as we speak. And as we head throughout the day today, we are still monitoring the potential for flooding. There are flood watches in effect for Oneida and Lewis counties. Obviously, Herkimer and Otsego counties are not included in this, but the potential is still there, so would not let the guard down just yet, especially those of you in Herkimer and Hamilton counties. But again, next 12 hours, temperatures climbing up from the 40s into as high as the low 50s with widespread rain. And we are, of course, tracking the exact amount of rainfall we're expecting today, plus changes in the weather. After this rain moves out, things cool down, even with the return of snowfall. We have a look at that, of course, coming up in that full forecast. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. It was a long...
News Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Wednesday morning. No photo of the day, unfortunately, due to technical difficulties with our website. But what I can show you, of course, is the upcoming notable days here in central New York in the near future. First off, spring, only 14 days away. Now, it won't quite feel like spring later on this week, but it does feel like spring today. 3 days until that sunset goes beyond 7 p.m. That takes place on Sunday. Of course, that is aided by daylight saving time. But also 32 days away until the 50-degree average high here in the Mohawk Valley as we see those days continue to warm up into the more spring-like conditions as we head into eventually March as well as April. But to the radar right now, things are looking a little busy in the Mohawk Valley with a brief round of rain. There's a dry slot to our south, which we're keeping a close eye on. As in following that, there's more rainfall on the way to our south and west. We have a full look at that coming up in that full forecast, as well as we're also monitoring those area waterways as well as those river monitors with the latest readings when it comes to this snowmelt and this rainfall, Ben.
Yeah, that's right, Eric. And one of those streams that's being watched is the Sequoit Creek in Whitesboro. This is it right here, right now at 2.2 feet. Now, Eric, when we talk about flooding specifically with this waterway, what are we looking for as some of the warning factors, some of the warning signs that we look out for?
Well, I would say this, the silver lining is with this about a week or so ago was covered in ice, and our concern was ice jamming. Now, the good news is this is all ice-free, which means that the biggest concern for this is already done with. Of course, you have ice jamming taking place. Quickly, this water will rise. But this has happened in years past where that water level has gone to the foot of the bridge or even on the base of it, even higher in the concrete part of it as well. But the warning signs when it comes to this, of course, when it reaches that measuring stick right there. But our main concern is mainly not Sequoit Creek, but some other waterways in parts of the Adirondacks, say, which still potentially have ice on them, and that's what we're looking for when it comes to the potential for flooding.
And Eric's going to talk a lot more about that in his full forecast coming up after the break.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. On this Wednesday, it's a mild start to the day today, and it's going to be a very warm one this afternoon as highs approach near 50. In fact, a live look at those current conditions out there right now. Rainfall briefly rolled through the city as we speak, and now things are going to start quieting down temporarily. 40 with cloudy skies at Rome right now. Feels like 36 with that southeast wind of 6 miles per hour. And the radar still looking a little busy. We've got that rainfall moving in through the Mohawk Valley right now and eventually heading up into parts of Hamilton County momentarily. But as we zoom out into the larger scale picture, you're probably thinking, this is all the rain that we're seeing. Well, there's a lot more of it to our south and to our west. Here's a look at the massive low pressure here. By the way, in meteorology, this is a strong low pressure, around 980 millibars, which to ordinary context, wondering probably what does that mean? It means that it's, with the strength of it, similar to a Category 1 hurricane, potentially with that strength, but of course, it's missing a lot of the energy that hurricanes do provide. But the moral of it is that this is a strong low pressure causing blizzard warnings on the backside of it through several states: Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. Lots of blizzard warnings, and of course here locally some heavier rainfall and potentially some stronger winds in the backside of the system. But of course our primary concern today is that rainfall and the snowmelt. No major changes to rainfall accumulation forecast, still between roughly half an inch, 3/4 of an inch to maybe 1.5 inches in some spots, but with still some of those locations up north with several inches of rain that is still in snow that has to melt still. That's our biggest concern. A live look at river monitors as we speak. Still plenty of greens, even a few yellows here and there, no oranges and reds, which is what are concerning levels. Yellows are near flood stage. Oranges are minor flooding. Red is moderate flooding. Very rarely do we see the pink category of major flooding here in central New York. But to our skycast today, here comes that widespread rain moving in. Temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 40s, eventually low 50s this evening. Then by tonight, we'll see the passage of a cold front into early Thursday morning with the potential for rumble of thunder as well. Then conditions cool down throughout the day Thursday as we fall below freezing, and then those scattered sprinkles and flurries turn to lake effect snow by Thursday evening and Thursday night. So when it comes to snowfall accumulation, following this rainfall, some spots Friday to Saturday could pick up 2 to 4 inches, lower elevations 1 to 2. Tug Hill likely seeing the most amount of that snowfall at between 7 to 12 inches. Isolated zone even more. Your 7-day forecast, again, that major cool down takes place from the 50s today down to the 30s by Friday and Saturday. We turn the clocks forward an hour on Sunday. and we get that 7 p.m. sunset. But following that, we're still in the 30s and 40s by Monday and Tuesday next week. So roller coaster conditions. This is usually what happens in early March, is you have a battle of two seasons, that strong sun angle and that cold winter wind that doesn't want to go away.
I thought we were done with winter.
Listen,
it's never ending.
If you lived in New York your whole life, you know that winter doesn't really end until
That's
maybe
true.
April.
May.
Who
Sometimes
knows?
June. All right, Eric, thank you very much. For 9 months, story this noon is the potential for flooding as temperatures rise, and there's still so much snow on the ground. This is a live look right now at the Sequoia Creek in Whitesboro, rolling a little bit higher than this morning. Meteorologist Eric Gage joins me now with a look, first look at your forecast. And Eric, with the Sequoia Creek specifically, when we look at this camera, we know that this area floods, is a little flood prone. What do we look for on this camera when we look for those warning signs that say, hey, something's starting to happen here?
Well, usually it's downstream, of course. This is aided by either sustained heavy rainfall, along with saturated soil content. And that's, I mean, the case right now is we've got a lot of snowmelt taking place as well as the rainfall. And that's the signs we look at as of this point. And for now, I don't see anything alarming with Sequoia Creek. Of course, we'll continue to monitor that. But there are also several other waterways in central New York and in the Mohawk Valley that we have to keep a close eye on. And as you see right here, river monitors in a lot of these locations. Not a whole lot of concern in the Mohawk Valley in central New York as of now. Mohawk River near Little Falls at a near flood stage potential. Even some higher totals as you head down south toward Bainbridge, where some of the more yellows and even some oranges are present here with potential minor flooding. So we don't think this will be a big issue with the amount of rainfall we're expecting. But again, the silver bullet here is the snow melt. How much of that snow up north continues to melt? Widespread rain across the Mohawk Valley as we speak. Temperatures have climbed into the mid-40s here in Rome right now. It hasn't warmed up all too much, but matter of fact, it's in the 50s, approaching near 60 degrees down in Dansville as we speak. Now here on the radar, lots of rainfall, yellow indicating that light to moderate sustained rain. And as we look ahead the rest of this afternoon, we'll continue to see this move through to roughly 3, 4, 5 p.m. Then the rain tapers off temporarily before returning again this evening and tonight. We have a full look at that forecast and the latest on that switch over from rain to snow coming up in just a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. And on this Ash Wednesday, the Vatican announced just a short time ago
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. The rain is falling across the area as we speak, and on top of that, we're keeping a very close eye on area creeks, streams, and rivers. Take a look at Oneonta right now, where the rain again is still falling steadily. It is not in heavy downpours, at least based off of radar signatures right now, but there are some light to moderate rainfall taking place as we speak. The heaviest of the rain is going to take place between now and roughly 3, 4 p.m. And that's for that widespread rain. We could see a brief round of heavier rain later on this evening and tonight as a trailing cold front rolls through. But it's going to be isolated and it won't be as widespread as this. But still, this is going to be the highest impact timing of potential flood concerns. Zooming out, the reason why we have flood concerns is due to the fact that we've got this almost conveyor belt of moisture. Look at this. It's going as a straight line from the southeast all the way up to New York State. That's all a giant plume of moisture. And although this is a steady supply of it, it's also moving its way east. So this is not going to last more than, say, 4 or 5 hours. This is going to end. We'll see a dry slot, and then a trailing cold front here will pull east, and we could see a brief round of rain as well. So with the potential for rainfall for today, we're still thinking half an inch, maybe, 1.5 inches, and some higher totals, especially up north. And this is why we're keeping a close eye on these river monitors as we speak. So If anything does change, I'll let you know, but for now, there's no immediate concern with area waterways. For now, there are flash flood warnings in effect, but they are south of central New York as we speak. So to our Skycast, that dry slot continues, has ended this morning. We're back to widespread rain today. Then watch this. The dry slot moves back in again this evening. And then tonight, here comes that round of rain overnight into early tomorrow. Tomorrow's a different story weather-wise. We start out above freezing. We climb to near 40 degrees, and then we cool back down below freezing by Thursday evening and Thursday night. But the concern for Thursday night into Friday is a multi-lake, lake effect snow setup. Yes, we're still in March, and we're still potentially dealing with this right now. But we're just letting you know ahead of time, there could be some impacts to travel, primarily south and west of Utica, heading into early Friday morning. That's when that lake effect does end, but the overnight hours could produce a good amount of snowfall. In fact, there could be even some signals of it returning again by Friday afternoon. So the early estimates of potential snowfall, again, for now, the highest totals are off of Lake Ontario near Tug Hill, but things could change, especially south of Syracuse. Stay tuned as we might fine-tune this forecast with our official forecast as we head into tomorrow and Friday. And so your 7-day forecast, we're still in alert mode for today. Then we continue to see a cool down with strong winds and even a switch over from rain to snow. We're down into the 30s this weekend, back up into the 30s and 40s by next week. And coming up in the next half hour, I'm going to mention how this could have the potential of producing migraines, this pressure system we're seeing move in from the west.
Really? I
Yes.
believe that. It actually explains a lot. I thought I was just going crazy
No, you're
or
actually not going
dehydrated.
crazy.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
That's your words.
Thank you very much, Eric. A deadly severe weather system is battering states. Welcome back. We're continuing to keep our eye out on the potential for flooding in the area. We're hearing it come down heavy on the roof here on Smith Hill, Eric, and it's just going to get a little worse from here, isn't it?
Well, only for a few hours. It's not going to be a long-lasting rain event. It's not going to last several days. It's going to hit its hardest right now. A bit of a break, and it comes back this evening and tonight, again, briefly before it switches over to snow. But here's a look at the bigger scale side of things. This is a massive low-pressure system, and I mentioned previously that for those of you who suffer from chronic migraines like myself, you might be wondering if this might contribute to migraine potential. Now, just disclaimer, this is a very primitive field of research. There's not a whole lot of participants, and the studies are still hit or miss. But based off of some of the findings by some studies out in Japan, actually, that reviewed several dozen participants, it does actually support the fact that a changing temperature or a changing pressure from, say, 20 to 30 millibars, by the way, 980 millibars was the pressure recorded out here, very strong. 30 or so millibars, along with temperature and humidity changes, could in fact produce the potential for migraines, as well as some other aches, but of course, I haven't done too much research in that, so I'm not an expert, so I'll leave it to you guys whether you think that changing pressure does involve that. But back to the current situation with river monitors as we speak. Again, widespread rain and snowmelt taking place right now, and as we speak, there still aren't any major concerns in the Mohawk Valley. We'll, of course, let you know throughout the afternoon and in the evening if any of that does change. Steady rain falling in downtown Utica right now. The radar is indicating that steady rain continuing over pretty much all of central New York as we speak. And as we head into, say, 3, 4, 5 o'clock this evening, the rain will taper off. We'll get a bit of a dry slot. Things will quiet down, and we'll pick back up again briefly in the late evening and overnight. We have a full look at that forecast and the timing of it in detail coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Severe weather swept across the south overnight. In Mississippi, a suspected tornado destroyed 3 homes and injured 4 people. All 4 taken to an area hospital. Thankfully, no deaths have been reported. Falling trees also causing major damage to power lines as that storm is moving through the area. It was the longest presidential speech ever to a
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. Rain continues to fall across the area today, and of course with it are very close eyes on the river monitors from the potential for flooding as well. A look at Oneonta right now, steady rainfall. It's not falling heavy in a lot of spots. In fact, rather on the lighter and steadier side, but it is 46 balmy degrees in the City of the Hills right now. And the radar is picking up on a few pockets of moderate rainfall. Matter of fact, I do think Cooperstown might be closer to that moderate to heavier rainfall right along Route 20 north of Cooperstown. And to the south, rain's lightened up a little bit, but in parts of the Adirondacks, that rain is starting to pick up. This is due to upsloping, and what's happening in the Mohawk Valley here where the rain is lighter is due to downsloping. You have all that air moving over mountains, the moisture gets squeezed out, then it expands and is allowed to sink, and it doesn't really produce a whole lot of rainfall, which is why the mountains, usually higher elevations, we start to see a lot of that heavier rainfall taking place. Zooming out, this is a large system, a very impactful system that brought blizzard warnings to parts of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, into Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri. And beyond this, of course, we're going to see the tail end of this produce some snow in our area. I don't think blizzard warning criteria, but some decent lake effect snow will begin to fall by Thursday night into Friday. But to the near term, this giant surge of moisture from as far south as the southeast U.S., heading up north into even Canada as well. Massive plume of moisture right here. And this isn't going to last all too long. This does end by roughly 3, 4, 5 p.m. today. So additional rainfall totals could surpass another 1.5 inches, or I should say 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch in some spots on average. But again, we're going to keep a very close eye this afternoon on these river monitors. We'll let you know if any flooding does take place. Any flash flood warnings that do happen will get sent right to your phone if you download that Storm Tracker 2 app right there on the bottom of your screen. It'll give you alerts as soon as they happen, and if it's near you, it'll let you know. So again, life-saving information right there at the bottom of the screen. So, Skycast, widespread rain this afternoon. It does end temporarily this evening, followed by a return to rainfall briefly tonight, quieting down, and then finally as we head into the evening hours, or I should say morning hours tomorrow, light rain switches over to scattered lake effect snow showers. That snow strength begins to pick up in parts of the area as early as tomorrow night into Friday. That's when those multi-lake winds begin to set up, and by Friday morning, depending on the data that comes in, some of it has it ending Friday morning, some of it has it beginning Friday morning, and we'll fine-tune that forecast when we get there. But just letting you know ahead of time, we're going to be tracking a significant lake effect snow band that moves off Lake Ontario and also Lake Huron and Lake Superior heading to Thursday into Friday. When it comes to initial snowfall amounts, some spots 2 to 4 inches, 1 to 2 inches in other locations, higher totals near Tug Hill. And of course, if anything happens with that multi-lake snow band setup, we'll let you know because of course some areas down here will see drastic different totals depending on that setup. So, your 7-day forecast. We've got 50 today, and then begins the slow cool down to the 40s and 30s by Friday. Eventually 30 degrees for the Heart Run and Walk on Saturday. Looks to be mainly quiet, a passing snow shower. But the main focus, of course, will be the soon-to-be 7 p.m. sunsets on Sunday.
I've longed to hear that. I mean, I know we lose an hour, I think, right? Is it lose an hour or we gain an hour? I always get
Well,
confused.
we don't really gain an hour of daylight. We just shift it forward an hour. We don't really, we gain an hour and a half of sunlight from the 1st of the month to 31st. It's a complicated
With the clock
thing.
change, though, we gain an hour or we lose an
We
hour?
move forward an hour. So,
Yes.
I guess we're going to call that gaining.
So yes. I don't know. It
There's
confuses me.
mixed language when it
I
comes
know.
to it. 'Cause
It's
you
so
think gain an
confusing.
hour, you think, oh, we gain a whole hour.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Eric. Well, New Orleans officially ended its Mardi Gras.
Let's get an update on the forecast. There was a risk for flooding this week. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
We're keeping an eye on area streams and rivers. The information we have so far is okay. We've been watching the Sequoia behind me. It's below flood stage. Rivers and streams are continuing to rise. But again, the river gauges that we do have are looking green, which means we're in good shape so far. But again, we're going to continue to monitor this because we're not out of the woods for the next couple of hours. I think a lot of these streams are going to crest tonight as the heaviest rain is now moving to the east. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, things are going to be okay tonight. The winds will be picking up. It's a windy evening out there. Temperature 47 degrees, the warmest we've been all day at Griffis and Rome. The dew point's up to 44, so when the humidity gets that high, that turns into what we call a snow eater. With the wind, it can really quickly melt snow here over the next several hours, and that will be the case. We'll have some sprinkles this evening, cloudy skies tonight. We're tracking colder, windy weather along with a return to some lake effect snow. A look at the forecast is coming up. Kristen, back to you.
At least 6 fire companies were called in to battle a house.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We're continuing to watch and remain vigilant tonight for areas of streams and rivers. They have climbed, but thankfully so far I don't have any flooding to report. We're continuing to monitor streams and gather whatever information that we can, but so far no news is good news. We'll keep you posted. Live look in downtown Utica, temperature 47 degrees. The steady rain that we saw is now moving to the east, so we are going to get a nice break in the action as we head into the next several hours. We are tracking a cold front to the west, and there's even a few lightning strikes detected south of Buffalo, so it is possible that we could see a few rumbles of thunder with this as it moves east, and that would be taking place closer to midnight tonight. So that would be our first thunderstorms of 2025, if that works out. Windy weather is going to continue. It's windy out there now. The winds will continue tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. It remains breezy on Sunday, but the winds will be a little bit less. It's not going to be quite to the level of damage. We're thinking 40-mile-an-hour gusts for the most part, but again, it is going to be very noticeable. Temperatures in the 40s, 52 in Westernville, 46 in Westmoreland. Across Southern Valleys, Hamilton 48, Cooperstown 50, Oneonta with 46 degrees. This large area of low pressure continues to swing through, and again, it's going to drag a cold front with it. Once the front moves through, the winds are going to continue, and it's going to bring in some cold weather as we get into tomorrow. Again, looking at wind gusts, they top out between about 30 to 40 miles an hour tomorrow. They'll pick up again for Friday. The winds look to be strongest in the afternoon, the prevailing wind direction from the west. In terms of additional rain, again, that cold front arrives tonight. Brief round of rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder. Will quiet down as we get into Thursday. There will be a few scattered snow showers, but when temperatures above freezing, I don't foresee that sticking. It's a different story Thursday night. We're expecting lake effect snow to develop. Temperatures fall below freezing, so it ices over. It'll be very slippery out there after sunset tomorrow. Heading into Thursday night, scattered lake effect snow showers. These will be lingering around into Friday, and there could be some accumulation. This is the early call for Thursday night. For most of us, it's an inch or two of accumulation, but where that lake effect band sets up to the west, could produce 3 to 5 inches of very fluffy snowfall. Rain and snow tonight, low temperature of 39, some snow showers around tomorrow. It's a windy day, high temperatures in the low 40s. The winds continue on Friday, lake effect snow showers. It's cold, but things start to settle down heading into the weekend. We're in the upper 20s on Saturday, 35 degrees Sunday. Don't forget the clocks change this weekend. Monday, snow showers 39. We're into the upper 40s Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, thank you.
A near record early this morning, delivering deadly thunderstorms and fueling fast-spreading wildfires in the central and southern U.S.
Yeah, there have been 3 storm-related deaths so far, all of them in Mississippi. Laura Aguirre reports.
The same line of destructive storms that wreaked havoc in the central and Gulf regions Tuesday reached the eastern seaboard this morning, and with it, damaging winds and severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings across parts of Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia. The rain potentially giving an edge to fire teams in North Carolina, where dozens of wildfires continue to burn across the state. In Mississippi, the storms damaged a number of homes and businesses, leveled trees, and caused widespread power outages. The roof of the Clay County Courthouse captured on camera being effortlessly peeled away by yesterday's powerful winds. Around a half dozen EF1 tornadoes were reported in towns across Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, where a different natural threat was already in motion.
The fire is getting bigger and bigger.
Several damaging fires across the Lone Star State Tuesday are still burning today, fueled by lingering high winds.
Sinton is on fire.
They evacuated us because it got real black and like 3 houses caught on fire there where we live at.
This Sinton area resident's home was spared by the Welder Complex fire located about 30 minutes northwest of Corpus Christi. It's one of several blazes being monitored by Texas A&M Forest Service across the state's central and eastern regions. Forecasters are tracking the system of rain and high winds as it moves up into the northeast overnight and into Thursday morning. In Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Coming up, proposed hotel plans in New Hartford get an upgrade.
Batteries are in so many things around us, from cell phones to electric vehicles. And while they are crucial for everyday life, they can pose a great danger when they've been damaged in disasters. Maribel Gonzalez gives us a first-hand look at the EPA's battery cleanup efforts after the California wildfires.
In California, the Palisades and Eaton fires burned thousands of buildings to the ground and charred electric cars to their frames, leaving behind a trail of hazardous waste like lithium-ion batteries at a scale the EPA has never seen before.
We're expecting to have upwards of 500 tons of lithium-ion batteries.
Is that the most you've ever seen in any sort of disaster?
Correct.
The EPA now on a mission to dispose of these damaged batteries safely, as they can reignite weeks after the fires that heated them are contained.
That instability is still there, and they won't give an indication of when they're going to fail.
After collecting the batteries, EPA technicians bring them to one of 2 Southern California staging areas. First, soaking them for days in tanks filled with brine solution to de-energize them.
It's a concoction of sodium chloride and sodium bicarbonate.
Larger battery packs are then torn apart, hundreds of jam-packed individual batteries released.
They're going to be the ones that might end up emitting toxic gases or metal.
They're scattered, crushed, and scooped.
That final product is now no longer considered a battery.
This novel process, first developed during the 2023 wildfires in Hawaii and then refined during the 2025 California ones, now critical to the EPA's response to future disasters.
Be it floods or hurricanes on the East Coast, or fires out here, or whatever else may be there, this will be a part of the waste streams.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Ilion residents will soon start paying more for water.
Hour with Chief Meteorologist Bill Carter. So rainfall, we've been talking snowfall for so many weeks. Here we are shifting to rain, and that's a threat.
Yeah, so we had a decent soaker today, getting about a ½ an inch to an inch of rainfall region-wide. This is a look at some of the rainfall reports from our New York State Mesonet. It was lighter in the Mohawk Valley. There was a little bit more of an downslope effect with that south wind. There were some lighter totals for example, Herkimer and Westmoreland getting about ¼ of an inch, but then you go north of the valley, south of the valley, ½ an inch of rain. The highest total so far, Pacifico, rounding out about almost an inch of rainfall. We continue to monitor areas, streams, and rivers, and right now we have no reports of flooding to pass along. We are going to continue to follow this, and again, so far, no news is good news, but again, we are going to continue to follow things here because we won't really be out of the neck of the woods until tomorrow morning. Looking at winds across the region, we've seen pretty gusty winds throughout today. The winds are going to be more of a headline over the next couple of days. We're tracking some heavier rain moving to the east this evening, and we will get a chance to dry out a little bit tonight. 47 degrees is the current temperature. We'll be tracking our next round of rain as a cold front moves in, which could produce some thunder later tonight. And we've got to look at the forecast, including some snow chances ahead. That's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. They likely won't be happy, but Ilion Village officials say they're paying next month $30 more per month for water.
Yeah.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We continue to keep an eye on areas, streams, and rivers. So far, nothing to report in terms of flooding, although we are continuing to keep an eye on things and keeping an eye on area river gauges and webcams. And again, right now, things are in good shape. Heavy rain is starting to move to the east, so we are going to get a break in the weather here as we head into this evening. Live look in Oneonta, you can see the camera kind of bouncing around a bit. 46 degrees. It is windy out there in spots. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The widespread rain we saw earlier today is now moving to the east. We'll get this nice break in the weather. I'm tracking this line of rain to the west. There's even some thunderstorms, some lightning being detected here. There is a chance, although it's small, that we could see a few rumbles of thunder with this as it moves in tonight. This would be closer to midnight, and it doesn't require warm, humid air to make thunderstorms with this. There's a special scenario called elevated convection that's going to be taking place tonight, so we'll see. Windy weather is expected as this cold front arrives. Those thunderstorms, by the way, the leading edge of some colder air. It's going to kick off some wind or a continuation of the wind for the next 3 days. Wind gusts will be as high as about 40 to perhaps 45 miles an hour. Not quite to the level of damage, causing damage or any significant power outages, but there could be a couple of them scattered here and there over the next couple of days. The wind more of an inconvenience than a problem for most of us. Whitesboro 44 degrees, Clinton 48, Macon, New Hartford 47. A lot of places got pretty close to 50 today. Not in all places though. Mohawk 41 degrees, Middleville 46. Across the Southern Valley, Skenevis 47, 49 in Worcester, Deb and Hartwick with 48. Large area of low pressure swings through tonight, and again, the winds are going to continue. Rain showers will be arriving right around midnight or so. Again, maybe a rumble of thunder. Temperatures will stay above freezing tonight, so we're not concerned about any icing forming. Tomorrow, temperatures remain above freezing. Rain and snow showers are expected. We'll fall below freezing tomorrow night, and we're expecting lake effect snow showers. It looks cold and windy heading into Friday. That band of lake effect snow could produce a fluffy inch or two of accumulation. It looks like a widespread 1 to 2 inch chance for the majority of central New York. But where those bands are a little more persistent to the west, we could see some localized higher amounts, perhaps 3 to 5 inches of snow. And again, that's for tomorrow night into early Friday. Rain and snow tonight, low temperature of 39. Tomorrow, snow showers, windy, a high of 42. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It remains windy on Friday, 36. Lake effect snow showers. We're dry over the weekend. It's cold, 28 Saturday. Not as cold as last weekend, though. Sunday, we're 35. Don't forget the clocks change. We spring ahead Saturday night. Snow showers Monday. We're close to 50 again by Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
We continue to monitor area streams and rivers, but I am happy to report, or I'm encouraged to report, that so far we don't have any flooding that has been taking place. We've been watching and monitoring streams and river levels. We've got the Sequoia Creek behind me as well. This is still several feet below flood stage. And with the heaviest rain moving out, we are in better shape. We're going to continue to keep an eye on things in case anything changes. The snow is going to continue to melt, so we will have more runoff tonight. Temperatures will remain above freezing until late tomorrow. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The steadiest rain now to the east. We will see another round of rain tonight as a cold front rolls through. We're at 47 degrees, so the snow is melting quickly. We've got a dew point of 43 and a wind, and that's usually ingredients that can help hasten the rate of snow melt. This evening, temperatures will remain in the 40s. It stays above freezing tonight, but again, we're tracking some colder and very windy weather ahead. And look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. If you live in the village of Ilion, you're going to see an increase of...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We continue to keep track of area streams and rivers. So far, no flooding has taken place across our region, but we're going to continue to keep an eye on things over the next several hours as snow continues to melt. The steadiest, heaviest rain has now moved to the east, so we're going to have a break in the rainfall. But again, as long as the snow melts, there's still the need to watch area streams and rivers. Live look in downtown Utica, 47 degrees is the current temperature. That's the warmest we've been all day, and we could still get close to 50 tonight before a cold front arrives. Steadier rain now moving to the east. The next round will be approaching from the west. This is the cold front. There's been some rumbles of thunder with this and some lightning that's been detected along this line. So it is possible that we could see a rumble of thunder tonight. It's a relatively low chance, but it's there, and that could be the first thunderstorms of 2025, should that be the case. Windy conditions are expected locally over the next several days. Wind gusts are expected to be close to 35 to 40 miles an hour, as high as 45 miles an hour at times over the next 3 days. That's enough wind. It's going to be uncomfortable to be outside. You'll definitely notice that driving, but not quite to that level that we would be concerned about damage or widespread power outages. The winds will start to decrease by Sunday. Skywatchers above freezing, Clinton 48, Cassville 44, Norway 45 degrees, Old Forge 46, Devon Hartwick with 48 degrees. This big area of low pressure swings through tonight. It drags a cold front with it. That'll be arriving closer to midnight. We stay above freezing tonight, so no concern about any black ice or any slippery spots. Temperatures remain above freezing tomorrow. We're tracking a few light snow showers in the air. No accumulation, at least during the daytime, but that changes tomorrow night. We're expecting the winds to align off of Lake Ontario, producing lake effect snow showers. Those will continue throughout Thursday night into early Friday. It's windy and it's cold. We also fall below freezing region-wide, so there will be a freeze tomorrow night. Watch out for black ice on untreated surfaces. We're expecting some snow accumulation. For most of us, it's an inch or two of accumulation. But heading to the west, where that lake effect band is more persistent, we could be talking about 3 to 5 inches of snowfall along the Tug Hill and into Madison County. Rain and snow tonight, low temperature of 39 degrees. Tomorrow, it's a windy day and it turns cooler throughout the afternoon, an early high of 42. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Colder weather as we head into the weekend. Not as cold as last weekend. We're 28 on Saturday. We're dry. Don't forget, this is the weekend where the clocks change. We're going to spring ahead Saturday night. Temperatures will be in the mid-30s Sunday. Snow showers on Monday, and then we start to warm up again with highs close to 50 by Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6. It's postseason time in college hoops. Syracuse women got their 8th forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis, so we're still not out of the woods just yet for flooding.
Yeah, we've been okay this evening because things kind of quieted down, but this next round of rain that's moving in may be enough to cause some issues. And because of that, the National Weather Service has a flood advisory in effect for Oneida and northern Madison County until 4 o'clock this morning, or tomorrow morning. And this is what we're tracking here. This line of locally heavy rain. This is a line of thunderstorms producing some thunder and lightning to the west. This will be moving eastward. Again, locally heavy rain could be just enough to cause some issues here. We've been getting a lot of snowmelt, especially over the past couple of hours. The wind really kicking up, temperatures warming up. We're at 46 degrees, one of the warmest readings so far today at Griffiths and Rome. So again, that snow has been melting in a hurry here. And again, even though we don't have any river flooding, we could see some localized flooding tonight as that next round of rain moves in. So again, we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. We've got some colder, windy weather, and we're not done with snow. We even have some snow in the forecast. So look at that is coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. The Sangertown Square shooting.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We are in alert mode. We are keeping an eye on things as we have another round of rain heading our way. Things look pretty quiet in downtown Utica. Temperature 46 degrees, but it's not going to look like this for long. We've got another round of some heavier rain moving in from the west. This round of rain could be enough to produce flooding. Could be enough to instigate some flooding in our area. The National Weather Service has a flood advisory in effect, expecting this round of rain to move in and cause some minor problems. That rain will be moving through over the next 1 to 2 hours. There could be some rumbles of thunder with this as well. This will also kick up the winds and start to cool off the temperatures. This is all part of a cold front moving through. And again, as you can see, it is a line. This is not something that's going to hit one area and miss another. We're expecting this heavy rain to take place again over the next couple of hours. The winds will be picking up and the winds will be sticking around over the next couple of days. Windy weather tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. Wind gusts 35, 40, 45 miles an hour at times. It's enough where it's going to be uncomfortable. You'll probably notice it driving. Not quite to the level of causing damage, but close. It could cause a couple of isolated power outages. I wouldn't expect this to be a large power outage situation. Again, the winds aren't going to be quite that strong, but it will be strong enough. The winds will start to settle back as we head into Sunday. Big area of low pressure swinging through, again, bringing rounds of rain to our area this evening. The rain will be coming to an end tonight. Temperatures will stay above freezing, so we don't have to worry about any icy spots overnight. We'll be in the mid-30s to start out tomorrow morning. Morning commute looks quieter. Cloudy skies, breezy conditions. There will be some snow showers later in the day, But with temperatures generally above freezing, I don't foresee them causing travel issues. Tomorrow night's a different story. We do fall below freezing. The winds continue. Lake effect snow is going to develop, and we will see some accumulation with this, especially west of Utica. That snow will be around on and off for Friday, windy and cold with temperatures in the low 30s. Snowfall forecast, this is for tomorrow night. Thinking a general 1 to 3 inches of accumulation region-wide, heading west of Utica. A couple of these pockets across northern and western Oneida County, as well as Madison County, could see 3 to 5 inches of accumulation. Tonight, rain switching over to snow showers, 39. Tomorrow, snow showers, windy, 42 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Windy, colder heading into the weekend. Not as cold as last weekend. Don't forget the clocks change. We spring ahead. Monday, snow showers 39. We're close to 50 again by Tuesday and Wednesday.
50.
Are we doing it again?
We'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Bill. Still to come. Today in the Weather Center, Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis with new information on a flood alert.
Yes, we do have a flood advisory in effect for Oneida County until 4 o'clock in the morning, and this is because of not what's happening now, but the next round of rain that's moving in. We've got a round of some locally heavy rain on our doorsteps. This is a line that's producing some heavy rain. Some rumbles of thunder were detected earlier. They can't be ruled out as this moves eastward, and again, this is going to last for a couple of hours tonight, and it could be just enough to instigate some flooding. We had a lot of melting snow over the past several hours. It's really ramped up. We're still well above freezing. We have a southeast wind, temperature of 44 degrees. We were almost 50 degrees here just a couple of hours ago. And again, we're going to continue to keep an eye on areas, streams and rivers. The rivers right now are still below flood stage, but again, that next round of rain coming in could be enough where it could cause some issues here, so we'll keep an eye on that. We're tracking much cooler weather along with wind and some lake effect snow that's in the forecast with some accumulations. A look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. The Sangertown Square shooting suspect.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
We remain in alert mode tonight as another round of rain is approaching. This is a live look at downtown Utica. It's quiet for now. We've had lots of melting snow today. It's really ramped up tonight. Temperatures have been warmer this evening in some places compared to earlier today. This next round of rain is moving in, and it could be enough to tip the balance. It's been relatively flood-free today, but with this next round of rain on top of the melting snow, we do have a flood advisory in effect for Oneida County until 4 o'clock in the morning in anticipation of some issues that this next round of rain will bring. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. This round of rain is also being accompanied by some rumbles of thunder. We've seen some lightning strikes occasionally with this line. This is a cold front. Once this rolls through, the winds are going to turn into the west, and it looks windy for the next several days. Wind gusts over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday afternoons could top 40 miles an hour, which is enough where it could cause some isolated power outages. I'm not expecting damage with this for the most part. Winds will become lighter as we head into Sunday. The bigger picture shows this large area of low pressure swinging through, and we'll get into the colder side of this one as it moves to the north and east and it drags in cold weather. Again, that cold front moves through tonight. Round to some heavy rain, localized flooding through the early morning hours. Then things start to quiet down for the morning commute. Cloudy skies, temperatures will start out in the 30s. We'll be above freezing tonight, so no worries about any black ice forming overnight. We stay above freezing during the day tomorrow. A few light snow showers are expected. Lake effect snow develops tomorrow night. The winds look to align from the northwest, which means Madison County and areas west of Utica will be expecting to see some accumulating snow Thursday night into Friday. This band of snow could become heavy at times throughout late Thursday and into early Friday. There could be some additional accumulations on Friday. But let's take you through Thursday night. A general 1 to 3 inches of accumulation is expected for most of central New York, and then heading west and south, 3 to 5 inches of snow Thursday night into early Friday morning. Rain and snow tonight, low temperature of 39. Tomorrow, snow showers, windy, 42 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It turns colder heading into the weekend. Not as cold as last weekend. Saturday's high 28, 35 on Sunday. Don't forget the clocks spring ahead 1 hour Saturday night. Snow showers Monday. We're close to 50 degrees as we look ahead to Tuesday and Wednesday.